Simplified Chaos, episode 95.
Life is beautiful and full of chaos.
And it can get slightly out of hand if that shit's not tamed.
We're here to share how to simplify the little things to help you lead a more intentional life.
This is Simplified Chaos.
Hello, wonderful friends. Welcome to another episode of Simplified Chaos. This is Jillian, one of your sexy hosts, and I'm with my co-host and husband, Nicholas.
What's going on, folks? We were just having a little bit of a fun run at putting our mouths right up against the microphone before we started, because that's what I see other podcasters do, but we are broadcasting with the Blue Yeti, so we don't need to get super close to the microphone, but Jill thought it'd be fun to talk in her sexy voice.
Just a little bit.
All right, hope you all are having a great week. We've got another great episode here for you. Jilly, what are we diving into?
Today's topic is all about being frickin' nimble.
Yeah, I'm a nimble motherfucker.
That you are, which I am so appreciative. Jesus.
Appreciative.
Because I feel like I've been having a lot of cravings, not food-wise, but just a lot of cravings of change. And you have been so flexible.
Ooh, I like how you changed it up from nimble to flexible.
You have.
Multiple definitions.
So yeah, we're going to dive into that because I don't know if anyone else
You've been flexible too, baby, and nimble.
Yeah. But this current season, I feel like the past 30 days have just been, I've been on a roller coaster with Lucille, our toddler, but we'll dive into that.
Yeah. Cliffhanger,
yeah.
I like saying that. Anyways, before we get into that, as always, we love to show a little gratitude before we really get into the topic here. So, Jilly, what are you grateful for this week?
I am grateful for our night walks.
Yeah. They are now in the dark.
The sun sets like 5:05 now, and we are still making it a habit to go outside after dinner, and we have all of these glow sticks left over from Halloween, so we're just cracking one a night.
Oh, yeah, no. And Lucille carries it around, and we have a good time.
Yeah, I'm seriously, and I talked to you about this, investing on Amazon for getting the whole fam some reflector vests and just slapping that shit on and then just doing our thing.
You sound like such a mom.
I just want to be safe, and I want to be able to see everybody because the dark kind of scares me.
The dark scares you?
A little bit.
Really? How do you sleep? How do you sleep at night?
My eyes are closed. Shut up. But yeah, I'm just truly grateful for our night walks. It's been really fun doing that and keeping with it, even though, we're not making the dark an excuse. Like, oh, we can't do anything outside because the sun's down. It's like, right. Fuck that. Slap on some glow sticks, put on some headlamps, and make a party of it.
Oh, hell yeah. And we get to see the night sky. It's been nice this week. We've had a full moon. We've got a couple planets in the sky, and Lucille's pointing it all out. So that's been a lot of fun, and I have really enjoyed these dark walks.
Yes. What about you? What are you grateful for?
It's going to be interesting. It's kind of on the same wavelength as what you just mentioned, but I'm actually grateful for the end of daylight savings.
Tell me more.
Most people dread daylight savings, whether it's in the spring and they lose an hour of sleep, or whether it's in the fall and everything just gets fucked up because the time change and getting darker earlier. But for me, it's a way to easily set better habits.
What do you mean?
So, if you want to be able to get up earlier in the morning and start your day a little bit earlier, there's no better time than daylight savings time.
It's so true.
Lucille's been going to bed, quote unquote, an hour early now. So instead of going to bed at 9 o'clock, she's going to bed at 8 o'clock because she doesn't know any better. She doesn't know the whole daylight savings thing. She can't tell time. She's 2.5 years old. But that also means she's getting up a little bit earlier in the morning. She's one of those kids who kind of gets up with the sunlight. And when the sunlight starts coming into the room, she knows it's kind of time to get up. So instead of us getting up at 6:30, 7 o'clock. I usually get up at 7 o'clock. Been getting up a little bit earlier, getting up at 6:30, and it's actually been quite nice having that extra 30 minutes or something to hang out with Lucille in the morning and just chill before starting work. So yeah, I'm looking at the bright side of daylight savings and taking advantage of it and not hating on it. Because I know a lot of people hate on daylight savings or the end of daylight savings.
Yeah, I've been enjoying getting up a half an hour early as well. And it's crazy how in tune she is with her body and like the natural circadian rhythms, so to speak. So it's kind of like, let's attune to her toddler ways because she's a little bit more attuned to it than we are. But we also have a lot of other things involved like work and stuff. So, but it's nice it's nice that we have a flexible schedule where we can wake up with her and not rush to go to work or any of that. So yeah, I totally get that too.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I totally wish daylight savings goes away permanently. Like, I think it's the dumbest shit ever. Like, farmers don't need all this daylight anymore. I don't know. I'm making that up.
Cow,
I have no
you
idea.
had all this positivity and then you just slam dunk with some.
But I'm saying I'm using it to my advantage. I hope it goes away in my lifetime, but for now, I'm going to use it to my advantage.
All right, let's stay positive here.
I'm always positive.
Sure.
It's dumb.
Cheesy.
All right, Jilly. So let's talk about this past weekend and how we're being nimble.
So I don't know if it's a combination of the full moon, hormones, the pandemic, or just because I'm just ready to seek change. But I have just been craving a lot of things all at once. And I'm that person where I want something, I'm like, let's change it now. Let's do it now. Very spontaneous and just want to make things happen immediately, no matter how big or small. And you have kind of helped slow me down because I need that. Or else I probably would be living in Copenhagen right now. And, things that I want to do, I'm like, let's just go for it. Let's sell the house and go. But, there are things that I want to do, and you help slow me down to appreciate what we have and just make the small changes that will help kind of feed my craving, but still appreciate what I have at the same time. And, I'm having them at moments where I'm like, let's change the house. Let's turn this room into this, or let's go do this for the day and, instead of this. And you have been so nimble and flexible in just helping calm me down and just asking me questions to really see what's the purpose behind it. And I so need that. You really balance me out.
Even though you might not like the question or the answer I give, I'm trying to, give my honest feedback. But, I know that you have been craving a lot of change lately, and I want to make it happen any way possible for you. But at the same time, it's just like, let's think about things practically and make sure that we are fully thinking this through before making a change. And, for one of the changes we want to do is, we had a trip a couple weekends ago where we went to a friend's house and they had this nice little play area, like a separate room that didn't have any TVs in it. It just had the toys in there and whatnot. And we've been thinking about doing that in our house. And it was kind of a go. Like, we were getting ready to start moving furniture around, and we even had started the process of moving furniture. And then I had one of those eureka moments where it was like, okay, if we do this, does your mom lose line of sight on the kids if she's deciding to cook a meal or something like that? And that kind of completely put that whole project on hold because, yeah, it is one of those things where she would not be able to have direct sight on them. And they're at that age where they need that. I mean, they don't need it full time, but somebody needs
like 99% supervision at all times.
Exactly. So it was like, okay, well, this change isn't practical now. It could be practical in a year and a half, 2 years. But for now, it's not practical. So, we're always willing to make those kinds of changes, but at the same time, they have to make sense all around. And it was nice that we didn't fully change everything. And then all of a sudden, like 2 weeks later, it was like, I can't see the kids. One of them fell off of something or whatever. And an accident happened. So those are kind of the things that we're looking to be nimble. But I think like the biggest thing that kind of brought this topic up was just this past weekend. And that's one of the things I love about this podcast is like really it's kind of a reflection on our previous week. And we always find something different to talk about. But we really didn't have any plans this weekend. And I know on Friday you kind of said that, hey, I really just want to kind of be a chill weekend. My our sister-in-law, my brother's wife, reached out and was potentially thinking about coming over on Sunday. And it was like, okay, well, you're not kind of feeling it right now, but at the same time, you're like, but I want to make sure that, you have time with your brother and stuff like that. And
I wanted Amy to have time with
exactly.
Lucille. I've been craving a lot of me time too. So it's weird trying to balance out wanting to see family, and the weekends are really the only time I feel like that are the best time to do that. So it's like, how do I carve out me time, but then also not be so selfish where, I'm taking anything away from you or Lucille. Like that's really important that I listen to my body, but I'm not stealing things away from you guys as well. So it's a weird juggle.
Yeah. And so my plan, because we had no plans this weekend, my plan for Saturday was to do some yard work, to mow the front lawn and get the leaves up in the backyard and potentially mow back there as well. And Saturday morning, I was kind of in that mindset. Like we had a really slow Saturday morning and it had rained on Thursday and Friday. So like the yard was still wet and I was waiting for it to dry. But I was just in that mindset that, okay, this afternoon I'm going to do yard work and whatnot. And then you came up to me and said, hey, what do you think about going to Frederick today? And like, I was just totally thrown off guard. Like my mindset was on the yard work and when to do the yard work. And I knew my brother and my sister-in-law were coming over the next day. And then there was a chance of rain for Sunday. And I was like, well, when am I going to get this done? But I was washing dishes and I was just thinking to myself, that probably wasn't the reaction she was looking for. But at the same time, she's making a sacrifice and I don't even want to say that's a sacrifice. That might not be the right word, but you're like, yeah, family is important. Let's, make sure that they come over. And I was like, you know what? She's doing something, even though she needed some time for herself this weekend, she's doing something for me. Let's go ahead and do something fun. And she had saw something in one of our local magazines about Chestertown, which coincidentally, my sister-in-law owns a Domino's Pizza in Chestertown.
Shout out to Amy.
Yeah. And she was like, I hear this is a really cute place. And I had been there a couple of years ago. And I was like, yeah, it's actually awesome. It's right on the river. It's a small little town. I mean, it's, not terribly too much to see, but they have a good coffee shop there. We could walk along the water. So, we set out for a little adventure and, it was a great afternoon.
Yes. And I was so appreciate for you being flexible because I think, and you make me question like the real purpose behind me craving change so much. And even in regards to us changing one of our rooms to a playroom, once I thought and reflected on it, I was like, I think I was also in that comparison mindset too, thinking like, wow, they have a really awesome playroom. Mm-hmm. It would be cool to have that too. We immediately go to comparing ourselves.
Sure.
And after thinking about it, and then you were like, hey, why don't we check with your mom first? And I called my mom and she was like, that sounds like a great idea, but that really wouldn't be ideal for now. And I was so glad you made me call her and do that before I just did it. I think sometimes I just fall in love with changing something instead of realizing, is this truly valuable or is it going to work? And so I appreciate the whole, you give me pushback when I need it. And it also made me think like, we are so like, I don't want to say anti, but we really don't want a lot of toys. We don't need a lot of toys. And just thinking about if we would have turned that large room into a playroom, I think that would have been an invitation for a lot more stuff. And I didn't think about it either until I thought about how much stuff was in their playroom. I think sometimes we get so trained that because we have space, we're like, oh, let's get more. So I'm kind of grateful that we didn't transform that room, because having our toys in where the TV is and the couch is, we are forced to keep our toys to a minimum because there's not a lot of space to keep them.
Right.
So thinking now, it's like, I don't want to turn that into a playroom anytime soon until we definitely think it's the best decision for my mom or whoever's watching Lucille, or if it's me. So I'm happy that you did that, because I think sometimes I am so quick for change, and I think it's more change internally. Like there's a root cause for it, and I think I try to get it externally sometimes with like changing the house or changing that, and there's usually something else going on, whether it's emotionally or hormonally,
right.
or, and there definitely has been, because, I was like, let's do that spontaneous trip. And I felt so good to get out and explore a new place. So I think the real root cause of all of this and being nimble is just the fact that I'm craving like changing routines. I'm craving new things, new experiences. And I think it's because we haven't been able to get out as much, or maybe just because we're in the house all the time.
I think it's a combination of both. I mean, we are in the house all week when we were used to being out of the house for at least 40 hours a week, if not longer, when you think about our commutes to work and then our time we spend at work and then our commute back. So yeah, I mean, we're spending a hell of a lot more time in the house than we've ever spent before. I think going back to when you can even remember, like even in high school, you didn't spend as much time in this house as you do right now.
Yeah.
So this is something that we're still adjusting to with this whole situation. And yeah, I mean, we want to get out and explore and do things. And again, this allowed us to explore another area that we've never been to. It's someplace in our backyard that we might not have otherwise even paid any attention to. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of good that came out. And that was, part of my thought process as well. Is like, this is another place that we can, kind of check off in Maryland that that we've been to, and can say there's another little town. And we found a nice little coffee shop. The coffee was good. The pastries were great. So it's just another little place that we can recommend, and if anybody wants to go anywhere. But
yeah, and I had jotted down just a few things that I had been craving a change in. And going back, I know you talk about you want to use the word nimble, so I'm just going to keep using it. I found some ways to be nimble and to kind of help feed that desire and need for changes, but making it small and totally obtainable. I was going to share a few, if that's cool.
Absolutely.
So as far as changing, since I've been changing a crave in like our day to day, I've tweaked my morning routines a little bit, where by waking up earlier, which was great. That daylight saving time lended itself to that, and also mixing up my beverage choice. So I'm trying not to drink coffee every morning.
Yeah, I noticed you drank tea yesterday.
Yeah, so I thought it would be fun, and I honestly feel like I am so addicted to caffeine or coffee, and I don't know how much I like the power coffee has over me. Don't get me wrong. I love coffee so much, but I'm like, I am more powerful than coffee. I can totally do this. So I thought it'd be fun to just maybe do every other day have tea. I know it sounds crazy, but I really want to be able to be like, I have to have coffee today. It'd be nice just to say, I can enjoy tea too. So I am trying to fluctuate with coffee and tea. And I know it sounds so silly, but it's something so small that it's kind of making me happy right now, because it's something different than I normally do.
Yeah, I can see how coffee can be very mundane, especially if you do it every day, multiple times. I mean, I have 2 cups in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. And so I'm definitely in the coffee. So I get what you're saying. You want to change it up a little bit. You're still getting some caffeine with the tea and whatnot, but it changes it up from the everyday coffee grind. No pun intended.
I've also been in my planner since I've been craving change by setting like little mini goals. So the last 3 weeks, the month goal of October was Wanderlust. I said I wanted to visit 8 new places, and it didn't matter how big or how small they were, and we did it. So I think by setting goals of like new adventures, it really makes me intentional about planning time for it and then just informing you like, hey, let's go here or let's try this out. And then this week I decided to have goal of just trying new things. So it was like whether I wanted to try a new recipe, whether I wanted to write a new blog post. A lot of it's just ways to get more creative. And I realized that's another part I'm missing that part for creativity. I think because I'm at home, it's like I work, I see Lucille. I work, I see Lucille. I work, I see Lucille. And there's no downtime like there was in the car or breaks at work when I didn't have Lucille. I think sometimes because I'm here, I feel like I want to go down and see Lucille right away instead of maybe staying up here for a little bit longer and maybe getting some creativity or some time to listen to a podcast. So I think there's pockets of time that I have to figure out how to weave in my day that I used to have that I don't have anymore.
Right.
And I think the void of those pockets of me time to be creative or just to think or be by myself, I need to recreate those moments in my week. I think that's the other change too that I didn't think about until right now.
Eureka.
So I've been intentional in putting it in my planner, and it really makes me do it. It makes me accountable for it, and I'm grateful for that planner. Just writing it down, I cannot stress writing it down and actually putting it what day I want to do it has been helping me so much.
Guess I already know what your stocking stuffer is going to be for 2021.
What? Another planner?
Another planner.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah. I'm going to make it happen.
And then I appreciate that. And then I think I've been really heavy stressing myself out with high expectations of like my business and of teaching and of being a mom and keeping the house, in a way that makes me sane and, less clutter and all that stuff. There are so many things that I think were on my plate that I was stressing myself out too, which I think was just building up. And I was just like, I want to get out of the house. I want this. I want that. And so just even sharing my thoughts out with you. You were like my therapist this week. I just told you like how I felt like, and you helped me brainstorm and kind of streamline my business so that I was doing less, but still helping mamas out. And I'm so appreciative of that because I didn't want to let my business go because I really I really love what I do for moms. Like I love making the meal plans. I love coming out with new theme designated nights. Like that brings me so much joy that I did not want to stop it. But you kind of helped listen to me. And by talking it out, it was like I came up with some solutions that, hey, I can still do this, but it doesn't have to be what it is now. And so I'm slowing down too. I think just by looking at my life as a whole and cutting out what doesn't have to be there, and it's okay to let go. I think just letting go of some things that I had attachments to has been truly helpful as well.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and again, this is a year unlike any other year that any of us have really ever experienced, and we're all still learning and trying to figure out how to cope with things. And for some people it was tough right away, and for other people it's kind of like, okay, we've been doing this for 8 months now, when is this ever going to end? So it's all hitting us at different times. So we have to be nimble, and we have to be there for our partners, and we have to be there for our family, and it's going to take a lot of understanding and talking it out and communicating. But just being right now in a state of flexibility is what we need to be in, because anything can change at any given time. I mean, we're going through so much right now, and today is election day that we're recording this, November 3rd, and this is going to cause a lot of stress and anxiety for folks no matter what the outcome is. And then we've got the holidays coming up with a pandemic, and this is the first time we're going to be dealing with this, and so we have to be nimble. We have to listen to each other and do what's best for ourselves and take care of us. And, again, I know my reaction when you said, let's, get out of the house was probably not the right reaction at the time, just because my mindset wasn't there. But, I thought about it and I was like, this is what's best for you. This is what's best for us. This is what's best for, the family. And so we're going to go ahead and do this. The yard work and shit can wait. This is what's more important right now. The yard is the yard. It's going to be there, and, the leaves aren't going anywhere until I rake them up anyway. So it's just like, let's make sure that we're all, in a good state of mind and we're all happy. And that's what we got to do right now. We've got to take care of each other.
Yeah, just going back to our values, I think puts everything in perspective. Like, what's most important? All right, let's put ourselves, I guess, in motion to help improve those things. And the other stuff can wait, like you said.
Yeah.
It's just stuff that comes along with owning a house. It's just stuff that comes along with being a parent. Like, it's going to be okay, and it's not going anywhere. But I think you're right. Just concentrating on our mental health and our sanity and just doing what means most to our family. So I'm just going to keep appreciating you and thanking you for listening to me.
I appreciate you too, because you challenged me, and this is truly a team effort, and we're in this together as a family, and we're gonna get through this whole thing and take care of each other. Like, that's what we're here to do. These are is it strenuating? I don't even know. Extenuating?
I don't know. You could be making up words.
I'm making up shit. These are just challenging times, and we have to be there for each other. So I'm here for you, baby.
And can I not only say that it's not only challenging times, like in life in general, but experiencing Lucille's official, holy moly, she is on the toddler roller coaster of developing emotions. And if we don't prime our minds to be our best selves, man, we would not be showing up as the best parents. So now that's even more of a reminder to like do whatever the fuck I have to do to like show up being patient, open, kind, because Lucille needs us. She needs us to be open.
Does, yeah.
She needs us to be nimble and flexible. And she needs us to be prepared to go along with the ride, because she is just soaking in everything, figuring out how to express herself. And it's a fucking roller coaster. It really is. And sometimes I want to fight her and be like, what the fuck? Like, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. Like when we were in Chestertown, I was like, all I wanted to do was stroll and see really cute old houses.
Yeah.
And fucking Lucille. No, I want to go by the water. I'm like, God damn it.
She's obsessed with the water.
I know. So it's like, I feel like I'm having a battle of like her and me, like her once and my once. So it's a juggling act, and we're figuring it out. And we're
there was another thing of nimbleness there.
There was
at the end of the day. Right before the end of the trip, you wanted to walk them down the main street and just check out the shops, and
just to look.
She was not having it. I was like, listen, let me take her back to the car and give her some fruit snacks.
All the
walk
bribes.
Up the street, take your time. Well, man, did that backfire. Like, just didn't work out whatsoever. She saw you walking up the street about a minute after you had left, and I was trying to get her back to the car so we can get her strapped in and eat some fruit snacks. And then all of a sudden she saw you and was like, Mama! And I was like, well, we can walk up to where she's at. She's like, no. And I was like, well, we can walk back to the car and you can get some fruit snacks. No. I was like, I guess we're just going to stand here then, right? And that's basically what we did until you came back.
Because I heard her screaming as I'm strolling. I'm like, so I'm not going to get any kind of relaxing, cute town stroll now. I like walked to the end. I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to walk
You're
back.
A half mile up the street and you can hear your daughter yelling, Mama! Yeah, she's going through some stuff, but we're rolling with it. She's we know she's developing, so that it is what it is.
I think what's important is that we have each other's back, and when you need some time, you go. When I need some time, you let me go.
Yeah.
So we're trying to make, I told Nick, I was like, I want this to be 50-50. Like, I want Lucille to have 50, like, her to do what she wants, but then we still have half the control, shouldn't say control, but like half of that space to do what we want. So that is my goal too, is just to make sure that I know
66-33, come on.
I know, you're all, see, I consider us both, like I say parents 50% and Lucille 50%, which gives her a lot more.
Well, where does self-care fall in there then, Jilly?
I don't know. I haven't figured it out.
We will have an update next week.
Yeah. So yeah, thankful for being nimble with toddlerhood for sure.
Hell yeah. All right, Jilly. Do you have any resources for our lovely listeners?
I do. So because this topic was all about like my cravings, I found a quote, which you'll hear later, which was by Buddha, which somehow led to Jay Shetty.
Can I ask you something before you get into that?
Sure.
Wasn't your blog, didn't it used to be called Jillian Craves?
Yeah. But like craves food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it wasn't my blog. It just was like Jillian Craves the Clean and Simple Life.
Ah, got it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That was like before. Yeah. It was part of it, but not like in the name.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was.
Okay. Off topic. Jay Shetty.
No, it's cool. So I just wanted to show you like the pathway to Jay Shetty was because I found a quote that was from Buddha, and then it got me to thinking like monks. And so I found a blog post that was 9 life lessons, and they're from Jay Shetty. And if you don't know who Jay Shetty is, he has a podcast. I think it's like Life on Purpose. He used to be a monk. He has a really awesome book.
Was he a monk or was he training to be a monk?
I think he was a monk.
Okay.
And then he left that, and he explains why. And now he just wrote a book. I think it's called Think Like a Monk, which I just listened to him on the Goop podcast, and it was a great episode.
Goop.
But so I found it was 9 life lessons from Jay Shetty, and I found 3 of them that just really resonated with me and helping me kind of process these cravings. So one of them was, so this is about prioritizing growth over goals. Goals are great, but they can loom large and inspire paralysis and overthinking. That's totally me right now. He just says, start by taking any one step towards your goal. And I think that's where you come in and just slowing me down and then just really just taking like a small step versus like making these huge changes right then and now. Another tip he has is just about getting out of your comfort zone and trying new things. He said, give yourself quote unquote toddler status and take your learning slow. If you push yourself too far too fast, you'll see only failure and overwhelm. Small incremental steps win the race. So it's just a reminder for me just that it's okay if I'm making small changes and it's happening not as fast as I want to.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, and I keep having to remind myself the process. It's the process, not the destination, because the destination, we're never going to get
Gary
there.
V ism.
Is it? I feel like
He's
that's
all
everywhere.
about the process.
It's so true. I need
It
to
is.
fucking enjoy this journey, slow down, and stop trying to get somewhere. Anyway, all right.
That's another episode.
And the last one that resonated with was just identifying the motivations behind our decisions. And I think that was when I had to really think about the root cause behind me wanting to drastically make changes in my life and do things.
That can be a tough venture too.
Yeah.
Just to figure out what the root cause is. Sometimes it's very easy, but then other times it's like you got to really dig deep. So yeah, that's some deep shit there.
And he just brought up, are we making decisions based on what we're looking for and what is important to us, or what is attractive when comparing? And I think it's really easy to like see things on social media or see things our friends have and immediately crave it and want it. And that's another thing for another topic. I've been trying to limit my time on Instagram because as positive as a tool it is, I think sometimes I've been finding myself scrolling more than usual and I see things and crave it when really it's just because it's there. It's not even because I really want it. It's just, that's cool. I wonder what it would be like to have that. And I need to stop that shit. So I'm retraining myself and just taking some time off of Instagram. But yeah, those are the 3 things that I think were really resonating with me and where I am right now in processing all of my desires and cravings. Keeping it real.
We're gonna continue to process those desires. Why can't I talk tonight? Desires and cravings.
So yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Good
it.
shit. How about that quote of the day?
The quote of the day is
Jilly.
from Buddha.
That's appropriate. I see the link there.
I told you what brought me to Jay Shetty was the quote that I found
From Buddha.
from Buddha.
The Buddha quote.
Were you listening to me?
Of course I was listening to you. You never listen to me when we podcast.
Sometimes. Here we go. Craving and desire are the cause of all unhappiness. Everything sooner or later must change, so do not become attached to anything. Instead, devote yourself to clearing your mind and finding true, lasting happiness.
It's tough to do.
So fucking tough. And I really needed this quote right now in my life. Thank you, Buddha.
Write it on the bathroom mirror or something.
I have some whiteboard markers. I think I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I really need that a reminder this month. Could be the rest of the year. Who the fuck knows?
Through the rest of the year, it's the right time of the year to have that up. I mean, we're rolling into the holidays, and you're going to be seeing a lot more shit on the social medias unless you limit your time. So it's a perfect quote to have up there.
Yep, that's it.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode here. Oh, no, it's not. Take action challenge.
Your take action challenge is...
I'm putting you on the spot, aren't I?
You are, and I was not prepared. Usually it just comes to me, but...
Be nimble.
Be nimble.
Yeah. No. Take care of each other. Take care of your families. Take care of yourselves. Try to have some understanding when other people are going through things, and be nimble.
Thanks, honey, for picking me up.
You got it. All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you like this episode, please do us a favor and help us spread the message. You can do this by writing a review or simply by sharing this episode with a friend. And remember, sharing sparks a conversation. Conversation leads to action, and action is how we're able to live a happy and intentional as hell lifestyle. We want to thank you all for listening today, and we will see you again next week.
See you later.